How have budget cuts affected teaching at University of California, Berkeley?
Well, for one thing, a lot of classes have been cut back or simply eliminated, or enrollments have been limited, and the classes that are kept are often larger than they've been in the past, which means that the students don't get as much personal attention in the classes. Um, there are fewer readers to help with the grading, just a lot less diversity in the course offerings for students. I mean, to the point where it's difficult sometimes for students to get a schedule of classes and to get enough units, and it's very hard for them to put together their major degree programs because so little is being offered at present.
How does all this affect the quality of teaching at UC Berkeley?
Well, it means teachers are stretched a lot further. It means that students, as I say, they don't get as much personal attention. You don't get to spend as much time with each student or with each student's papers or talking to each student individually. And so the education becomes much less personal than it had been and much less varied for the students.
What about teachers' salaries and other benefits?
Well, we're lecturers. I'm a lecturer, and we are what's called non-senate faculty, and our salaries tend to be anywhere from about half to two-thirds what someone with equivalent experience who's a Senate faculty member is. Senate faculty members have tenure, non-Senate faculties don't have tenure. And the cutbacks aren't so much affecting our basic salaries as they are affecting us in terms of layoffs. So if we're kept, we haven't taken any salary cuts. It's just that we're doing more work for the same salary that we were doing before.
Have these same things been happening somewhere else in the US, or is this just a Californian phenomenon?
Oh, I think it's happening almost everywhere in the U.S. I know there are some smaller university systems where the crunch hasn't hit yet, but it's especially apparent in California because California's budget is so big and it is in such trouble that all of our public institutions now are suffering. And people in the United States tend to look at California as a precursor of what's to come elsewhere.
Are you worried about the future?
Yes. Yes, I am.
So what would be like the worst scenario that you can see happening here?
Well, there's several levels. I mean, at a personal level, my own program is in danger of being eliminated. I teach in the Celtic Studies program, and our budget over the past 3 or 4 years has been cut so severely that after next year we won't be able to offer even enough classes to satisfy our major requirements. And because of this, we're doing an internal review, which the Dean's office is supervising, and the result of that will determine whether our program survives. If they think it's worth keeping, then they'll have to fund it more. If they don't think it's worth keeping, it'll be cut, and I think this would be terrible. We are the only Celtic Studies program in North America that offers both a Welsh and an Irish track for the students. They can choose one or the other, or they can do both. And another thing about our program that's unique is we're highly interdisciplinary. We integrate people who do not only languages and literatures, and not only modern but medieval languages, but we have people from history and anthropology and all kinds of other disciplines. And so the students get a very well-rounded liberal arts education, and that's getting more and more unusual in university systems. That's at the personal level. At the campus or the campus level, more and more what's happening is that what's called public-private partnerships are taking over, and the idea is that any program or any major department that can't essentially bring in outside money from private funding sources is in danger. So the university is being run more and more on private money, and I think this is a dangerous trend. It's largely behind what all the students are protesting about, because the idea that education, that public education should be free, that was an ideal from the Master Plan for Higher Education in the 1960s. And the people who currently are interested in running the university no longer believe that the master plan should really be implemented and respected. They'll say they do, but when it comes right down to it, the general consensus is that students should pay for their education.